Hey, it's me. So today we'll be having a look at PDA Kitchens. We'll be doing an audit of their website, just seeing what could be improved in terms of rankings on Google and just getting more customers locally. But before we do that, we'll be answering a Q&A from Joanne. So this is again from one of the groups that I'm in. Like I said, I'm probably in like over 600 Facebook groups. At some point, I will need to like audit all of them and remove the ones I'm not active in anymore. But yeah, so let's dive into it. So I own my own marketing site and working with an auto mechanic. He currently is with a group who only does marketing for auto mechanic and he hates it. Says they promise everything and he sees nothing. What SEO packages or other plugins would you recommend so I can do this without the niche marketing company? So yeah, in terms of like, she mentioned auto mechanic, that sounds like a very local business, right? You're not going to be servicing a company or servicing customers that are out of state. So it's a local company. And usually insert their customers are going to be maybe like a 5 to 10 or 15 mile radius, at least most of their customers. So it's essentially local SEO, pretty much the same thing that we do for the majority of our clients, which is essentially focusing on cleaning up their website. And then once the website is done, we focus on content, link building, and then getting their reputation up, right? So what it looks like is essentially this. So as you can see, now, this will change from time to time, but this is kind of like our pillars. So we have website, we have reputation, content, and links. And this is not necessarily the order in which they're going to be done. So, if a client comes to us and they already have a website and the website looks pretty decent, we'll just start with content. And, if their content and their website is doing pretty well, we should focus more towards link building. And we still do a bit of content. We always recommend doing a bit of content because that way you can continuously build your asset. Links are not necessarily asset building. They help you rank and they're pretty good at helping you rank once you get like the right links, but links are not forever, right? They're not diamonds, they disappear. So you want to focus on things that are more asset based. So your reputation is something that you can keep. Usually if your Google My Business doesn't get suspended or taken down for whatever reason, but the chance of that happening is pretty slim. And then you can always build your reputation on other platforms too that are more stable. Your website is something that you own. It's essentially, right, as long as you own the domain, that's your deed to your website, to your online store. As long as you own that, it will be never taken away from you, and you can eventually sell that depending on how well you took care of that website, how many pages are on that website. Well, actually, that's not entirely accurate. It's more about like how many leads, how many customers can your website produce? Because if you have like 500 pages on your website and it doesn't produce anything, the buyer's probably just going to be like, yeah, I mean, what am I supposed to do with this? It's better if I just start over, right? So when it comes to the website, you're looking at the hosting, maintenance, speed, user experience. So for hosting and maintenance, that's something that we do. We host plenty of websites, my own websites and also clients' website. So we have actually a team that does that consistently 24/7. If there's ever anything in the middle of the night, I just send them a message and they are on it. And usually I don't need to send them something or send them a message in the middle of the night because they usually take care of like the maintenance and everything. So that's pretty good. But usually what you would want to do is make sure that your technical, your site structure is properly, your site is structured properly. This can actually go on the content probably, but site structure is important, mobile friendliness, and also speed of the website. So this is an ongoing process. It takes time to update plugins, takes time to fix certain, right, their new plugins, or not even new plugins, their existing plugins are getting updates every now and then, and they could update something that then eventually breaks their website. So you definitely want this to be an ongoing optimization process, and it works for auto mechanics, it works for any kind of like home service business. So at least get this taken care of. This is just, I guess, like the basics that you need in order to at least participate, right? So if you don't have a website, where are you going to produce content? Where are you going to send those links to? And I guess you could say you can add your reputation onto your Google My Business, but your Google My Business is not something that you own. So yeah, it's borrowed real estate from Google. So for your reputation, just making sure that you're visible on Google My Business, on social media platforms. So we actually have a CRM that posts towards your Google My Business and then takes that post and turns it into social content for, let's say, your Facebook and whatnot. So, and then of course there's word of mouth. These are things that a business owner would take care of course, but we can at least help with responding to reviews, making sure that we request reviews, stuff like that. So these are two things that you can take care of right now as, I guess, I'm not sure if that person was a marketing agency or just a friend that's helping out, but those are things that you could definitely take care of. And then once that's done, you'd want to shift your focus towards content. So as we'll see in the audit of today, there's a lot of things that could go wrong with content. right? The keyword research, how the pages are structured in relation to other pages on the website, the site structure itself, the URL structures. Those are all things that you'd want to have streamlined and have like consistent throughout your website. Otherwise, it can hurt your SEO, regardless of how good your articles are. So what we tend to do is we try to create topical relevance. And I say topical relevance because in the past, it was very easy or just much easier to just take a keyword, pick any kind of keyword and just create content around that. Now, what you actually risk doing nowadays is actually that you start publishing content and you have maybe 4 or 5 or 6 different pages that are all targeting the same group of keyword or the same keyword. That's going to cause harm to your website because then you have multiple pages competing for that one keyword. And then, if Google cannot choose, if you don't make it crystal clear to Google and Google cannot choose, what happens is then Google just decides to not rank any of your pages. And then you're not visible for that keyword for months, for weeks, for months, for maybe years, until you notice that you're cannibalizing your own opportunity, your own ranking. So content, quite important. We are able to rank websites without actually even, getting powerful links like guest post links or PBN or whatnot. We don't even use PBN anymore. We focus mainly on content, reputation, and website. And then as for the link building, we just focus on maybe press releases and some citations just to keep your brand going, your brand out there. And that's pretty much it. Most local business websites should be able to rank with just these 3 pillars here. The 4th pillar, if your content is really good, your website is well taken care of, and you have a great reputation, and you notice that it's still difficult to break through, you may need votes from other websites, and that's where your links come in. So these can be local links. They're free if you're willing to go out and talk to a baker, talk to another business owner in your area, and you guys are able to agree. Maybe you publish an article, or maybe you can donate something to a local foundation or charity, and then you get a mention on your website. That's always going to work 10 times, 100 times better than just getting a guest post that eventually will disappear because maybe the website goes out of commission, or for whatever reason they sell 100 links to 100 different websites. And after a while Google is like, okay, this doesn't look natural, so that website or that link loses power. So yeah, so that's exactly what I would do, for an auto mechanic, for a plumbing company. Each frac works for our water restoration clients and also junk removal clients. So I mean, it's the same playbook. It's just that you need to customize all of these deliverables or all of these tasks for your business, do the proper research, and make sure that you're focusing on topical relevance and not just writing for the sake of writing. Because if you're just using ChatGPT, you have the chance of actually harming your website in the long run with just very repetitive pages, repetitive content, and that's not going to help you. So let's do a couple others. So what are the best platforms? I use WordPress right now, but it's not so efficient. I want to make sure my website is perfect before I start local SEO. It's a fresh, brand new business. It's a fresh, brand new business. Anyways, this is my first official SEO client. So in terms of like stable platform, WordPress works really great. We use WordPress all the time. If a client is on GoDaddy, we recommend that they move over to WordPress or a different platform. We just don't want to work with like GoDaddy, so I wouldn't recommend GoDaddy. And it's just the ease of getting stuff done. And if something breaks, we're going to have to get on a call, get on a phone with GoDaddy, get certain verifications from your end, and it just takes so much time. So at the end of the day, we might allocate like a certain number of hours towards your campaign, and 50% of those hours are then going to be allocated to dealing with GoDaddy support. Now, as for WordPress website, just get a proper developer, someone that knows websites in and out, that knows how to maintain it. That's why all of our clients, I shouldn't say all, like most of our clients are on our maintenance plan, where we take care of all of that for them. And then we have like a couple of clients that are tech savvy and they know how to at least like set up their own hosting, integrate that with Cloudflare. But even then, they still reach out to us to edit their website or to do certain things. So, right, get someone that knows what they're doing. It saves you so much time, especially if like, I guess in this case, this is an agency owner. It's going to save you a lot of time. And even for the client, they're hiring you. They don't want to hire someone. They shouldn't have to hire someone that's going to try to like figure it out on their time, right? So you can, of course, like mess about with your own website and whatnot, but just get an expert to do it. So again, the last FAQ that we'll be doing today is from Scott Miller. Interesting picture. Anyway, so we are an agency and we need to hire someone to create a new Google My Business profile for clients and verify them. Then possibly manage where's the best place to post this job, Fiverr or Upwork. So I would say try Fiverr. Upwork can work also, but you might find more affordable solutions on Fiverr. And it's not something that I do myself because these profiles don't really actually stay up. You might buy them and they may stay up for like maybe say a month, 3 months, and then they're gone. And by that time, the service has already been delivered. You've already spent like maybe 100, 200, 300 bucks to get those profiles up, and eventually they just go down. So a better way to expand your reach on Google Maps is just to get maybe family and friends to create a Google My Business profile. So if it gets questioned by Google, I mean it's suspended, you could at least maybe temporarily turn your friends or your family members' house or address into a location. Just pull up with your chart and add maybe a flyer or some kind of like logo to a room. I'm not sure how that would work, but at least you have a chance to get it back up. And the other way would be just to, rather than get an actual location. So if you're a water restoration company, I tell that to my clients all the time, even junk Google, if you're making a hella cash like in a certain area, it might be worth it to pay a couple $100 to get a location there where you can at least put a signage and get another Google My Business profile so that you can get free leads from Google once it starts ranking. Now, my favorite is actually just going to and focusing on your website essentially. So meaning build out your website, have your website ranking for you, and maybe even build a second or a third website targeting specific services in a specific area. Websites will not be taken down that easily as a Google My Business profile. It's not as heavily scrutinized as a Google My Business profile. And so you can build out as many websites as you want, and you can rank for like multiple keywords.